this lesson will be on infection. Here are types of pathogens we can come into contact with in our everyday lives. These include bacteria, viruses, external parasites, fungi, and biofilm. These are microorganisms that cause disease. Bacteria, also known as germs or microbes, are one-celled microorganisms. These will grow in warm, dark, or dirty places. There are two categories for bacteria. Non-pathogenic, meaning non-disease producing, is harmless and can be beneficial to our health. Approximately 70% of all bacteria is non-pathogenic. Many live on the surface of our skin, giving us our skin flora. Saprophytes, for example, can cause decay on organic matter. Pathogenic means disease-producing. These can be contagious, live everywhere in the environment, some cause infection, disease, and they can have toxins. These can spread easily through contaminated hands or fingernails. These can include strep throat, staph infection, and impetigo. These bacteria can invade our body through open skin, mouth, eyes, ears, nose, or even genitals. These are certainly contraindications for any services you may provide for your guests. Mycobacterium is a bacterium that is found in water, including tap water and soil. MRSA, methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus, is highly contagious. This is going to enter the body through open wounds. This causes staph infection, pimples, and boils. This is antibiotic resistant and can be deadly if not treated. Cocci is round, ball-shaped bacteria that appear alone or in groups. Staphylococcus are pus-forming bacteria that grow in clusters like bunches of grapes. They can cause abscess, pustules, and boils. Some types of staph may not cause infection in healthy humans, but can still be present. Streptococci are pus-forming bacteria and are arranged in curved lines, resembling a string of beads. These cause infection, such as strep throat and blood poisoning. Diplococci are spherical bacteria that grow in pairs and cause disease such as pneumonia. These bacteria are able to travel through the air and dust. Bacilli are short rod-shaped bacteria. They are the most common bacteria. They produce diseases such as tetanus or lockjaw, typhoid fever, tuberculosis, diphtheria. These bacteria use a flagella to move around just like spirilla. Spirilla are spiral or corkscrew-shaped bacteria. They are subdivided into subgroups such as Treponema palladium, which caused syphilis, a sexually transmitted disease, STD, and Borrelia burgdorferi, which causes Lyme disease. These bacteria will use a flagella to move around. Bacteria can have an active stage and an inactive stage. In its active stage, it will divide through binary fission. Binary fission will create daughter cells once the adult cell is large enough to divide. This can reproduce every 20 to 60 minutes, depending on the bacteria type. If conditions are unfavorable, the bacteria can die or become inactive. Once in its inactive stage, it'll create a wax-like outer shell. Bacteria can withstand long periods of famine, dryness, or unsustainable temperatures. These spores can blow around even in its inactive stage and continue to contaminate items or even your body. Viruses are a parasitic submicroscopic particle that infects and resides in cells of biological organisms. A virus is capable of replication only through taking over the host cell's reproductive functions. With viruses, we have multiple forms such as chickenpox, flu, cold, mumps, and even HIV. These are smaller than bacteria. They do require a host to live. They are not treatable with antibiotics. They do invade the cells of its hosts and take over its immune system, and symptoms might not pop up for another 10 to 14 days after exposure. But luckily, we have vaccines to help. Hepatitis A, B, and C are transmitted by person or person contact. These are transmitted through contaminated foods or drinking after someone that is infected. Hepatitis B and C are both bloodborne pathogens. They cause a highly infectious disease that affects the liver of the person infected. There are vaccines available for hepatitis. Human immunodeficiency virus (HIV) is an acquired immunodeficiency syndrome (AIDS). This will attract and destroy the infection-fighting cells of its host. You can contract this through childbirth if the mother has it, cuts, sores, sexual intercourse, or sharing needles and syringes. There are many herpes simplexes, but 1 and 2 are your most common. These can appear through cold sores, and they are considered a sexually transmitted disease. Human papillomavirus (HPV) can cause cervical cancer, genital warts, or plantar warts. There are vaccines available. Parasites are an organism that grows, feeds, and shelters on or in another organism, host. Parasites contribute nothing to the survival of that organism. Parasites must have a host to survive. External parasites are going to obtain nutrients from another organism, host. We could have parasitic mites. These are insects that cause a contagious disease. They cause skin problems, and they can cause bacterial infections due to scratching them. They can become very itchy, red, and irritated. Scabies, for example, is extremely itchy, and this is caused by mites burrowing under a skin, typically around our fingernails and our toes. These look like red rashes with blisters and pimples. This can spread through skin-to-skin contact. This needs to be treated by a physician. You may also run into head lice, pediculosis capitis. Head lice can spread through person-to-person contact or clothing. You can find them at the base of the neck and back of the ears. Head scratching is the #1 sign of head lice. You may also find red small bite marks. You can control lice with a pediculicide shampoo. Head lice cannot live off of its host for more than 48 hours. Fungi are microscopic plant parasites that include molds, mildews, and yeasts. They can produce contagious diseases such as ringworm, mildews, and other fungus affecting plants or grows on inanimate objects but do not cause human infection in any salon or spa setting. Mildew can damage surfaces of sinks, towel bins, and other surfaces. Ringworm is highly contagious, pops up in red patches that create circles. They start to scale and create pustules. These can be very itchy, and they can pop up anywhere on the body. Ringworm feeds off of dead skin cells and spreads through skin-to-skin contact or on fabric. Ringworm can also spread from animal to human and human to animal. Biofilm is a type of slime created when a bacterial colony and water is present. A biofilm will cause a sticky residue to appear on a hard surface. Its sticky nature is hard to remove. This is not easily seen but can be felt and identified by its slimy texture. These are 6 signs that you can use to identify infections. They include pain, swelling, redness, local fever, throbbing, and discharge. Ways that you can transmit infection could be person-to-person contact. This will be physical touch. You can transfer warts, pink eye, or influenza. This is considered a direct contact, so skin to skin. You can also contract these through respiratory droplet transmission. This is when a spray of large droplets come out of the host from either coughing, sneezing, or talking. You could also transmit infection from object to person. Airborne transmission could be contact with tiny droplets from someone coughing or sneezing. A contaminated object may be touched, such as a countertop, and shortly after touching the eyes, nose, or mouth, before washing your hands. Eating food or drinking water after someone else. You could pick it up from an animal or an insect bite. Some examples that you could contract through object to person would be ringworm, MRSA, or E. coli. Another way that you can transmit infection would be from indirect transmission. These are 2 basic classifications. One being local and the other being general. Local would mean small, confined areas. These could consist of pus-filled boils or inflamed areas. General would be the whole body. You'd be systematic. And this could occur when the circulatory system carries the bacteria toxins to all parts of the body. Ways that it could be spread would be open sores, unclean hands and implements, coughing or sneezing, sharing drinks or food, and unsanitary shop conditions. You can control transmitting diseases by following personal hygiene, public awareness, infection control procedures, and vaccinations. Keep in mind, if anyone is ever asymptomatic, this person is carrying a disease-producing bacteria or virus, but they have no recognized symptoms. Standard precautions you can utilize in your everyday cleanliness could be practicing using proper tool disinfecting techniques, utilize hand washing, wearing PPE, personal protective equipment. Remember, if you ever see blood, get gloves first and then clean up. If there are any bodily fluids, mucous membrane exposure, or broken skin, be safe and get gloves before proceeding with any protocol. The number one thing you can do to prevent transmission of infection is hand washing. The body may create its own protection by creating antibodies. These are produced by the immune system, and they kill or inactivate pathogens. Antitoxins are a special group of antibodies. These can help to render a toxic substance harmless by neutralizing the toxin that is present. Our bodies can become immune to certain things. Immunity is the body's ability to destroy infectious agents that enter the body. These can be active or passive. Active meaning the antibodies are produced after exposure to the disease. The disease is introduced to the body through infection with the actual disease or vaccination. This will take time for our bodies to develop and can last a long time, sometimes lifelong. Passive is when an antibody is given to someone versus them producing through the immune system. A person can also get it through antibody-containing blood products. Protection is immediate, but only lasts a few weeks or months. This is the end of infections. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos.